Question 9. Question 9. Emmanuel. Emmanuel still playing the okay. So got question 9. We'll do the first one. Y is equal to sine x minus 30. So here, the period is 2 pi over 1, which is 2 pi, meaning that the scale is 2 pi over 4, which is pi over 2. And then the first shift, horizontal first shift, x is equal to 30. So mean that even this number here should be written as 90. Okay. Then what else? The vertical shift is 0. And the amplitude is 1. So we can sketch. We can say we sketch from where? Sketch from negative 180, 180. So using our scale, we have 90 and then 180. Negative 90, negative 180. Now there's a shift of 30, meaning to the right. So to 0, we have not changed the starting, where to start from. So you can do the changing, or you do this. Okay, let's just do the changing first before I give another option. So we add each number that we have now on the normal one, we add the horizontal shift. So to 0, we'll add 30, we'll have 30. 90, we add 30, we'll have 120. 180, we add 30, we'll have 210. And then negative 90, we add 30, we'll have negative 60. And there we add 30, we'll have negative 150. Meaning that for us to get to negative 180, something must be done somewhere. Okay, so say we now got y is equal to sine, and now substituting. That is, if you didn't want to get this, so you'd say, okay, 180, what is x? X negative 180 minus 30. This guy will give us sine negative 210. This is just the same as negative sine 210. Then look for 210. 210 in the second quadrant. So we're doing with negative sine. I mean, it's in the third quadrant. So we're doing with negative sine 30, which is negative half. Okay, so that's for when you have this guy here, when you have negative 180. Then for y is equal to sine negative 90 minus 30, that is sine negative 120. So it will give us second quadrant, which is the same as sine 60. Sine 60 is root 3 over 2. Then we do y is equal to sine 0 minus 30. That is sine 30, which is negative sine 30. So in fact, even here it's negative. So that is negative half. And then, so you can get for O, but because of a shift, what do you mean by negative 2? The maximum and minimum it can attain is possible minus 1. So unless there has to be 3 outside sign, multiplying sign here. So look, me, I don't like calculating these values. So what I'll do is, since we have sine here, now the graph of sine in the normal sense, it must go this way. Come down up to there. Go up to there. Then we shift it to the right by 30 steps. So this point will come here. This point will come here. The 0 will come here. The 90. And then the 180 will come here. The 90 will come here. And then this was 1, negative 1. Those are still fixed because there's no shift there. So this point has come there. The point up has gone there. But the point that was here has moved here. So here is no point. The point that is there is moving one step to the right. Okay, yeah. Then this one here, that one, which is this, has come here. And that one has come here. So what we have now is the graph of this notch. Okay, yeah. Because calculating here, we're getting even numbers like this, if you can plot, numbers like that, if you can plot. So it's like, yeah. So that's our graph. Initially, now see. So why did we need to have these numbers in red in calculations? If we use the numbers in red, we are going to get very, very normal calculations. For example, at 210, we would get sine 210 minus 30, which is sine 18, which is 0. So we would have known that it is just 0. Then you got y is equal to sine 120 minus 30. That is sine 90, which is 1 there. Then you got y is equal to sine 30 minus 30, which is sine 0, which is 0, which is here. And then get y is equal to sine negative 60 minus 30. That would be sine negative 90, which is negative sine 90, which is -1. The one down here, and then y is equal to sine -180 minus 30. I mean -150 minus 30, which is sine -180, which is negative sine 180, which is -0, which is 0. So get those. Okay. So if you wanted to use the scale to get the numbers in red, then use the numbers in red to calculate here, so that you don't get this half root 3/2, which you can't easily sketch. That's what I was getting confused for. Okay, so unless there are questions, that should mean that question 9 is done. No questions. Okay. So go to question 10. Solve the following equations. Sine 2x is equal to half. This one is a bonus question because we solved the question of that nature where you let theta to be 2x and deal with sine theta is equal to half. And this one is open interval. Oh no, from 0 to 360. Okay. So theta is equal to 30. For half. And then you go back to that guy there and say, meaning 2x is equal to 30. So x is 15. So have your first x. In the second quadrant, we have 150. So theta is 150, meaning 2x is 150. So x is 75. Second angle. Then you come back in the first quadrant again. 30, that thing where we could go around and get there. Where we said 30 plus 360, we're getting 390 as our theta. So meaning that 2x is going to be 390 divided by 2. So x is 195. Third angle. So because it's from 0 to 360, you can go around again and divide by the same. The 150 is coming from the second quadrant where theta is 180 minus x. Now the x we have is 30. So in the second quadrant, you get 180 minus 30, which is 150. So again, you can come, so here you can get about so many angles because we have 3 so far, just on the first quadrant. So you can have some more. So that's now, I'll give that just to find those more angles. So that was 1. I think 2 will be similar to 1. If we can do 3. 8 sine squared x minus 6 sine x plus 1 is equal to 0. So here you let P to be sine x so that you make the quadratic that you can easily solve. So we have 8 times 1 as our product, and our sum -6. So I think it's 8 pieces. So our factors will be -2 and -4. So minus 4p minus 2p plus 1 is 0. Factor out -4. We get 2p. Let's factor out +4. So we get 2p minus 1. And factor out -1 here, so we get 2p minus 1. And so 2p minus 1, 4p minus 1 is 0. So 2p minus 1 is 0, or 4p minus 1 is 0. P is half, or P is 1/4. So when P is half, we get sine x is half, where we know x is 30, x is 150. When P is equal to 1/4, these are not special angles. So we'll just say x is equal to sine inverse 1/4 and leave it there. We only get to solve for them if they are special angles. If not special angles, don't solve for them. So you can also do 7, which is 3 sine x plus 3 is equal to cos squared x. This is 3 sine x plus 3 is equal to 1 minus sine squared x. Every time when you have sine not squared, cos squared, change the squared one to the other ratio. So change cos squared to sine so that you have the signs in your question. So if you put like terms, if you put everything one side, we'll have sine squared x plus 3 sine x plus 2 is equal to 0. So again, you let P to be equal to sine x, so that you have p squared plus 3p plus 2 is 0, and then get p squared plus p plus 2p plus 2 is 0. So p plus 1 plus 2p plus 1 is 0. So we get p plus 1. We get p plus 2 is 0. So p is equal to -1. P is equal to -2. So sine x is equal to -1 only when x is -2. Only when x is positive 270. But sine x is equal to -2 is undefined, since x runs from -1 to 1, where it is defined. In fact, not x. Since sine is only defined here, that's anything outside those is undefined. So our only solution here is x is equal to positive 270. So you guys can actually solve all these remaining questions here.
Sir, can we solve question 10.5?
10.5, okay. 5 cos x cos 30 minus sine x sine 30 is equal to half. So what we do here is, this is the same as cos x plus 30 is equal to half. That's how we expand cos. Is that okay?
Yes.
Because we know that if it was A plus B, would have said cos A cos B minus sine A sine B. So our A is X, our B is that. So meaning that if we let theta to be X plus 30, then we'll have cos theta is equal to half. And so what next? What next is that theta is equal to 60. That's one gives us half. So we say X plus 30 is equal to 60. So X is 30, 60 minus 30. Meaning that was in the first quadrant. This in the fourth quadrant again, where cos is positive, we get theta is equal to 300. So X plus 30 is equal to 300. So X is equal to 300 minus 30, which is 270. So we only have two values of X in there. How do you get the 300? You subtract, because now the angle you have, you are going in the fourth quadrant, so you get 60 and subtract it from 360. Okay, so let's go to question 11. We are told that f of x is equal to 3 plus 2 sine 2x plus k, where x lies from 0 to 360, where k is a constant and 0 is less equal to k, which is less than 360. The curve with equation y is equal to f of x, meaning y is equal to f of x, meaning that y is equal to that, passes through the point with coordinates 15, 3 plus root 3. So the curve is passing through this. A, show that k is equal to 30 degrees is a possible value of k. Of course, at the point, this should be at the point 3 plus root 3, 15. So show that k is equal to 30 is a possible value of k. So how do you do that? If you want, you can get F15. So where there is x, you take 15 and keep the k. We expect to get 3 plus root 3. As our y, remember this is x comma y. So where there is y, we'll put 3 plus root 3. This must give us 2 sine 2 by 15 is 30 plus k. So if you take this the other side, to give us 0. So we'll get 2 sine 30 plus k degrees is actually equal to root 3. Then divide by 2, sine 30 plus k degrees is equal to the 3 over 2. So you know what value of sine gives us that? We know it's sine 60. So 30 plus k degrees is equal to 60. So k is 60 minus 30, which is equal to 30 degrees. As required, show that k is equal to 30 is a possible value of k. So it is indeed the possible value of k. Then solve the equation for b. Solve the equation f of x is equal to 1. So you get 3 plus 2 sine 2x plus 30. Now we know that k is 30 is equal to 1. So you take 1, you take the other side, you take this the other side, the 3. So we'll have 2 sine 2x plus 30 degrees is equal to 1 minus 3, which is negative 2. Divide by 2, divide by 2. So we'll get sine 2x plus 30 is equal to negative 1. Then what happens next? You let theta to be 2x plus 30. Now we know that sine theta is equal to negative 1 only when theta is 270. So 2x plus 30 degrees is equal to 270. So we have 2x is 270 minus 30, which is 240. Divide by 2, divide by 2. So x is equal to 120 degrees. That's how we find, that's how we solve that one there. Then find the greatest and least value of f. C, find the greatest value.
Sir,
Hello.
I have a question.
Please
On the
ask.
first one,
Mhm.
how did you find the 3 plus root 3?
So this is a point given in the question. We are told that the curve passes through the point 15,3 plus root 3. Meaning that if we take x to be 15, y must be taken as 3 plus root 3.
All right, thank you, sir.
Okay. So the greatest value of f of x will happen when the sign gives us the maximum value. Meaning it will happen at the point where sine 2x plus 30 is equal to 1. So that it will be f of x is equal to 3 plus 2, which is 5. So that's the greatest value of f of x. And the least will happen, when sine 2x, plus 30 gives us negative 1. So that will have 3 minus 2, which is 1. So the least will be 1 and the greatest will be 5. That's how we get that.
Excuse me. Where are you getting the 3 and 2?
So f of x is 3 plus 2 multiplied by sine 2x plus 30. Now we are saying when this guy gives us the maximum value it can, which is 1, then we'll have f of x will be 3 plus 2 multiplied by 1, meaning we'll get 5. When it gives the least, which is -1, then we'll have f of x is equal to 3 plus 2 by -1. That will be 3 minus 2, which is 1. That will be the list.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so the part of sketch, I'll leave it up to you now to do. So you guys should do sketch on D. I think we won't finish this because we still have question 12, 13, 14. So tomorrow we'll have another class where we'll finish this.
So what time is it going to be?
Just I need to check. I will communicate, I think, 10 hours before class.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
So I have a question.
Please ask.
I didn't get you clearly on question 11C, your explanation.
So you want to get the greatest value of f of x. But the whole function depends on the values of sine. Now we know that sine, in its nature, sine runs from -1 to 1. So even if we have theta as 2x plus k, which is 2x plus 30, sine will still run from -1 to 1. Now, if sine is 1, that's the time we expect to get a maximum value. So we'll get sine 2x plus 30 as 1 and substitute where there is this whole thing. We substitute 1, meaning it will multiply 2 and then add 3. So we'll get 5. Sine also can attain the least value, which is -1. If it gets the least -1, then you can multiply 2 and get 3 minus 2, which is 1. That's how we get the solution.
Thank you.
Right. Okay, so we end here.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Good night, person.